Okay, so today is the last lesson of this unit. So we will have an evaluate day, a test review day, and then test day will be when we get back after Halloween. So just a heads up there. All right, so systems of inequalities is what we're looking at today. So basically we're taking those inequalities that we graphed last time and doing two of them and kind of seeing where the overlap is, okay? So here's steps that you can follow if you get stuck at all. And it's still basically the same thing as graphing them before, with the exception of there being two of them. So we still want to make sure our equations are in slope-intercept form or that y or x are solved for, okay? But since it is an inequality, not an equation, if we are multiplying or dividing by a negative number, the inequality symbol will flip. So less than become greater than, etc. When you draw your line, if it is less than or greater than, you'll use a dashed line. And if it's less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, use a solid. So I think the lines under these, so they get a solid line. Okay. So the first one we have says y is greater than -2. So if I'm talking about my y values, that's going up or down on my y-axis here. So up or down here. So if it's -2, I'm just going to put a point right there. So they want all the y values to be greater than -2. So like a point up here would work, or over here, because those have a y value of 2. I could put y value here to give me a 4. But I could not do like down here because that point has a y value of -3. All right, so that thing, okay, everything above that point. And if it is a y is greater than -2, I'm going to make that a horizontal line that is dashed. Okay, and then you can think, all right, the y numbers that are greater than -2 are above this line because those are all positives. So for my shading, I'm going to do above the line and just shade kind of lightly at first because these ones where we have two, it's a little bit different. I'm gonna do this in black so you can see that. Okay, so for my next line, y is less than or equal to 3x. So this one does have the x, so it's basically y equals mx plus b form. But if there's no b, there's nothing. You can think of it as +0. All right, so I'm going to erase this for you. So I'm going to start my graph, my line at 0. That is my b. My m is 3. And you can put it over 1 if that helps. So that means up 3, right 1, or the opposite, down 3, left 1. So from this point, 1, 2, 3, right, 1, 2, 3, down. And this is an or equal to 1, so that's going to be a solid line. All right, and then for the shading, I'm going to shade it in green so you can see kind of the difference. It says less than or equal to. Y is less than or equal to. Well, the bigger y's are up here because those are positive. The smaller y's are down here because they're negative. So I want to shade under the line, and I shade everything under the line. Remember, do it kind of lightly first. All right, now that point where the shading overlaps, so right in here, that is our actual solution area. And this one we had a dashed line, so if there was a point on the line we wouldn't count it, but this one had a solid, so if there was a point on that line we would count it, so that's important as well. All right, so let's check in here. Equations that only provide a y variable make, well, we saw that one made a horizontal line. It's just a reminder there. Okay, so it also says, so graph it and then circle the coordinates that are a solution. So I'm looking down here on 3b. So probably the best way here is just plot those points and see if it's in that shaded, the double shaded area. Okay, so 0, 2. It's kind of hard to see your graph now that you've graphed on it, but there's 0. And I want to go, so I'm not going left or right, but I am going to go up 2. So that would be right there. Okay, so that's in the shading of one line, but not in this overlap area. Okay, so that would not be a solution. All right, 0, -4, so don't go left or right, but go 1, 2, 3, 4 down. Again, only in one shade area, so doesn't work. And then 2, 5. So I'm going to go right 2, up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, it looks like it's going to be on that solid line, so that one is a solution, or a yes. Okay, number 4. So let's graph first. They are both in slope-intercept form, so that means I'm ready to start graphing. If you want to write a 1 on these, you can. So those are our slopes, where we move, or how we move, and then these are our y-intercepts, or where we begin. So I'm going to start with the top one. I'm going to go down -2 to begin, and then my slope is 1/1, so that's up 1, right 1, up right, up right, up right, or I could go down left, down left, down left. That has an or equal to sign, so I'm going to make that a solid line. Okay, and then for shading on this one, it says greater than. So greater would be above the line. Shade kind of lightly, that way you can make that overlap area more emphasized. Okay, now my other one, I'm going to begin at y of +2, and then it has a slope of -1, so that is down and right, or up and left. And sometimes people want to do a double negative on that. They want to go down and left. So if it helps, like take your pencil or something when you're done and kind of look, okay, if you lay your pencil here, well, it's going down. So you want to make sure, whereas this one was going up. All right, and this one will be a dashed line. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and shade that one. It says, but this one says y is less than. So I'm shading below the line. Okay, and again, I'm looking for that overlap area. So here was only my teal line, or blue, and there's only my green. So I'm shading in the area that has both of them. Remember, this side was dashed, so I wouldn't include numbers on that line, but this one was solid, so I would include numbers that fell on that. But only within this section here. That's my important area. Okay, now let's check our solutions. So 4, 2, that is right 4, up 2, that is right here. And that is only, it is on the solid line, but it's not in the overlap area, so that one wouldn't work. 0, -3, it's going to stay at the origin and go down 1, 2, 3. Again, in one area, but not in the overlap. And then -3, 1. 1, 2, 3, 1. That is in the overlap area, so that's a yes. Okay, last one here. These two equations, or inequalities, sorry, are not in slope-intercept form because y is not currently by itself. So I need to do that, so I'm going to write those under here to rewrite them. So I'll start with this one. So if I want y by itself, I can subtract 2x. Remember, I cannot subtract it from 6 because they are not like terms. So that's 3y. Bring down your inequalities. Make sure you don't switch that for an equal. And then I like to put the x first, which that's a +6, just to get it in mx plus b form. divide by 3 on both terms. And if this number was negative, I would flip my sign, but it wasn't, so I can keep it. So that's negative 2/3. Try to keep your slope, this, in a fraction form if you can, just because it's easier to graph it that way. And then 6/3 is like 6 divided by 3, which equals 2. All right, so negative 2/3 is my m, 2 is my b. So I'm going to go ahead and plot that. So I start at 2, I go down 2 and right 3, or I could go up 2 and left 3. And if it's less than, that is a dashed line, because there was no or equal to. And I'm going to shade below the line since it says less than. Okay, I need to rewrite my other one. So y minus 1 greater than or equal to negative 2x. This one's a really quick rewrite. Y doesn't have a coefficient, so it's almost by itself. I just need to add 1 right here. So y is greater than or equal to negative 2x plus 1. Negative 2 is my b. If you want to put it over 1 to help you, you can. And 1 is, or sorry, is my m, 1 is my b. So I'm going to start at 1. And I'm going to go down 2, right 1, down 2, right 1. Or I could go up to left 1. And this one will be a solid line. And then it says, right here I had greater than or equal to, so I'm going to shade up over this where the positives are. And I'm looking at my overlap area again. So this solid line is good, but this one was dashed. And just extra shading on that overlap area. Okay, let's check our points. Why don't you take a minute and pause the video and see if you can find if these points on 5B are right here are a solution or not. Okay, hopefully you're just checking your answer now that you've paused. So negative 2, 3 is to left and up 3, which is in the, on the one equalities solution, but not in both, so not in the overlap area. 3, negative 2 will be right 3, down 2. So right here, that is in the overlap, so it's a yes. And then 3, 1, 2, 3 right, 4 up is only in the green, so not the overlap. Okay, and again, remember this is the last lesson of this unit, so make sure you are caught up on homework. Please get ready for the test using that review. I will post a video on that as well, but I do not collect the review for points, so it'll just be to help you prepare for the test, which I would highly recommend doing that before the test. So, all right, have a good day.